particularly excited at the prospect of the women empowerment engagement that she would be having, because she is a key advocate for women's rights.
And children, yeah.
And if you do follow Kamala Harris on social media, you see that she's very vocal about some of these women's rights issues, especially where it has to do with their reproductive health rights. So she's been on a certain drive, hoping to make sure that women have the final say on what happens to their bodies when it comes to their reproductive health issues. And she thinks that that decision should not be left in the hands of the government of the day. And so if a woman chooses what to do with her body, then the government or the state has to be respectful and abide by her choice.
That is actually what is also getting a few let me say, anti-feminist groups to think perhaps it is one that is going to push the Ghanaian woman to want to take over from the Ghanaian man. Indeed, not necessarily taking over as in being the one driving the home, but that in itself feels a certain one lift of the Ghanaian woman. And you'll find that in about many homes in Ghana, it is the woman who manages, whether it is the cooking, whether it is bringing in income, and a lot of Ghanaian women do this to support their husbands. But the ones who I celebrate most often, and very often I would say, is the single woman.
I find this a fascinating concept that you mentioned, Alan, because this is a vice president of the United States of America, and she is the first woman of color to hold that position. And so for the first time in a while, we have a second gentleman of the land who is not the vice president, but rather the husband of the vice president. So it's those dynamics really that come to play when you talk about feminism. She inspires a lot of young people around the world, first because of her color, but also because of her advocacy and the fact that she can occupy this position and still be the figure, the family woman that she is. And I think it's a clear signal to all that a woman can and should be able to have it all. No debates about that at all from this corner.
Well, I'm not going to debate you on that. I know where you stand when it comes to issues relating to women and women's rights. And so I am not going to be in any position to want to debate you. The only thing I would be very glad to add is that I salute every other Ghanaian mother who would draw or take so much inspiration from what Vice President Kamala Harris is doing around the world to try and mobilize the woman to take her pride of place, whether in the home or wherever they find themselves. And I think one other thing we should also consider is the impact of this visit on business in Ghana and also Ghana-US business relations. I was looking at a few things on the internet yesterday, and I realized even during the COVID period, when it was really in the thick of it, trade between Ghana and America was pegged at somewhere at $1.2 billion. And for me, I think given where we are today, this would further enhance our relations in terms of business to take it even one step further.
Remember also that there is this unseen tussle with some of the world leaders, Russia with what's happening in Ukraine, and the countries that are appearing to show support or solidarity for one country or the other. And then the occupation where China occupies in the global trade system, and the fact that, well, China considers itself much of a neutral person and is willing to do business with a lot of people. The US is trying to strengthen its firm grip on its relationships with Africa to ensure that when they also roll out further trade policies, that China will not have too much of an edge over them. So that is also another area worth keeping an eye on as Kamala Harris makes this historic visit. She will be on her way to Tanzania and then also Zambia in this leg of the tour. So 3 days she's spending in Ghana, but a lot to unpack.
We're going to have
a
very packed 3 days ahead of us. Tomorrow we'll be at the Jubilee House, and then thereafter we'll be at the Independence Square for that public lecture. As much as we are to a very large extent prepared and looking forward to it, I'm not sure whether there's any particular area you're looking out for when it comes to addressing the public.
I think that being the women advocate that she is, she would want to make a strong case for how women can achieve and how they can continue to achieve even after they occupy high positions in government. Remember that we are in a country where a lot of women do not step up to be called upon to take public office. And even when some do, some find that they need to resort to getting permission from the male figures in their lives. And you and I know this to be true.
Sure, definitely.
And so she will, I hope, be hoping to make a strong case for that. I'm also hoping that she would want to tell us a bit more about what the two countries could further collaborate in terms of health. At the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, millions and millions of doses of the crucial COVID-19 vaccines were donated by many of our partners, of which the U.S. is also key.
Definitely.
Now that the vaccine manufacturing sector is beginning to pick up from the ravages of COVID-19 and from focusing on finding a vaccine and producing them en masse, I'm hoping that we can talk more about the immunization opportunities because of the current shortage that we witnessed with those crucial childhood killer vaccines.
Sure.
So I'm hoping that because of her unique position, and people complain when we want to play the woman card, but I think that it's not all negative. That for women, we are placed in a special position where we can make some of these advocation a bit more. Because, like you said, we run the homes a lot of the times.
Sure.
And so we do have a bit more experience in that regard.
It is critically important that we look beyond our individual personal interest and look at the broader and the bigger picture, the Ghana factor. Obviously, when in recent times we've had shortages to do with vaccines, it wasn't just the parent of the child who had not been immunized who were worried, but we were also looking at the knock-on effect from that. And so for me, if anything at all, this should be a rallying point for all of us to take such a position where the interest of Ghana will be first and every other thing obviously could come later.
I doubt that this visit would end without focus on education and the massive support that Ghana continues to enjoy from the US in that regard. I mean, look at the students who are seated just very close to us, and then it gives you an idea of what the magnitude of that is. A lot of the times when we talk about Education USA, we forget that the talents are also nurtured from the basic, the formative years, before they rise to the place where they can even go off into what we call here in Ghana, junior high or senior high schools, or even to pursue first degree, second degrees and master's programs abroad. But programs like what they do with Basics International and what's the name of the other school? Hope.
Hope, yeah.
Yep. It tells us that indeed there is a lot that the US is doing. The Mandela Fellowship is also worthy of mention here.
Definitely.
So we are still witnessing a lot of the sights and sounds from the Aquaba Lounge of the Kotoka International Airport. This is Ghana Television, and we are expecting the touchdown of the flight anytime soon of the Vice President of the United States of America, who is visiting Ghana on a 3-day official visit. Tomorrow, she'll be calling on the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and she'll also have other engagements with the public at a public lecture on Tuesday. We understand that she will also be engaging some women in some women empowerment activities while she is here. Alan, who else is coming on next?
We also have some friends from the media who are also here. We're shortly going to be joined by Maxwell Ofori from the Chronicle newspaper. We want to pick his brains to see what this visit means to the media landscape in Ghana, and if anything, what are we looking to taking away from this historic visit?
Okay, let's have him join us now so that we can pick some more thoughts. There's a lot of international media present here today, and so this is one of them, and we'll be engaging him. Alan, go on.
Sure, Maxwell, thank you very much for joining us. You are with the Chronicle newspaper. What does it mean to especially our media fraternity, this historic visit? What does it mean to us?
It means a lot, and I'm sure my colleagues who have the privilege of being here this afternoon and the subsequent coverage of all the itineraries would be proud adding it to their CV that once in their career they covered the historic visit of the Vice President of no mean a country but the United States of America. Personally, I covered the visit of French President Emmanuel Macron, and before that I had seen or watched senior colleagues cover the visits of President Obama. So for me, it means a lot that at least if I miss that of Obama, I have the opportunity of another US president. So it means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means same to my colleagues who are here.
Take us there. I'm not sure whether or not you have any recollections, but do you remember where you were when President Clinton or Bush or Obama visited Ghana?
I don't remember that of Clinton or Bush, but Obama, 2008 or 9, I was either in SHS1 or trying to get into SHS. Yes, that I remember.
Awesome. One other thing that I find quite interesting is the way we as media houses or as media persons cover such events. Indeed, this is no mean a visit. And so do you think we have done ourselves any favors or done enough to make sure that all areas are covered even before she arrives, given where you stand?
I believe in the saying that there cannot be a perfect preparation for everything. And given that in our side of the world, as far as journalism is concerned, we are working with limited resources. I can but only say that we have done what we can to this extent. As of now, we've not had any issues of misreporting, and we hope that it continues till she's done with Ghana, and that's the world watching us would also testify that when the U.S. Vice President was in Ghana, every information that was given by the journalists in that country was as it was to be.
Now tell me, what will you say your impressions have been so far, given the way we're set up today? Preparations, persons you have seen here, and what you expect the day or how you expect the day to end?
One thing everybody would consider immediately they hear the visit of prominent persons is security. And I must say that it is good. I am not a security expert, so I cannot say if it is up to standard. But from what I have seen so far, everything is under control. I have seen people picking intelligence, and I am able to identify them perhaps because of my work. And I've seen those in clothes and uniform and ununiformed moving around. I have seen the collaboration between our security personnel and that of the US. Before I entered this side of the airport, I was scanned by the US security people, about 3 people. I went through all those security checks, and whatever I have seen here, even in town, the statement from the Ghana Police Service telling us where and when they are going to block roads comes together. And I've also seen helicopter hovering around the country. It tells you the level of security put in place. And if you're also around moving around the Liberation Road, you might have witnessed the presence of our police personnel. So for me, it speaks volume of the preparation so far. We expect that when she touches down, everything is going to be as planned as far as security is concerned.
Well, thank you very much, Max, for joining us. It's been a great pleasure speaking to you, picking your views on what you expect and how you expect the day to go. Thank you so very much. And so if you're still with us, you're watching a live feed from the Aquaba Lounge at the Kotaka International Airport. This morning, we expect to receive the Vice President of the United States of America, Vice President Kamala Harris, who will be joining or touching down for the first time in Ghana for a 3-day visit. And T is going to join me very shortly. T, yes. Thank you very much for coming back to me. What are we looking forward to? Do we have any more lined up?
Yes, we have a few more guests lined up from Basics International School.
Awesome.
So I will be engaging them very shortly. Yeah. The focus for now is education and all the many ways in which you can join me now.
Sure, definitely.
All the many ways in which the U.S. continues to support schools to achieve their goals. And come on, join us here. Join us here. Yeah. Thank you so much for making the time. What's your name?
My name is Christabel Nala Lemisa. I am in P6.
P6, Basics International. Okay, so Christabel, yes, and let me know who you are.
I'm Patricia Wilkins, the founder and CEO of Basics International.
All right, and who might you be?
Hi, my name is Obed Nyamatego, a beneficiary of Basics International and a graduate as well.
Thank you all for joining us. So what's this partnership about with Basics International?
Okay, so we've entered a partnership with the U.S. Embassy for quite a few years. They offer a lot of support to our programs. We've been a recipient of grants from them to support our initiatives such as our chess program and exchange programs, bringing in programs from the U.S. So this was another partnership where we were invited to be a part of Vice President Kamala Harris. I am an American Ghanaian, so that interaction of the relationships between Ghana and the U.S., they felt it was very important. So so we're here today. Our children are here to be the crowd and to support and welcome Vice President Kamala Harris into Ghana.
Thank you. Christabel, what have you learned in this partnership that the U.S. Embassy is doing with Basics International?
I've learned many things.
Give us an example of some of them.
One, like I came here to be seeing the USA president. I've not seen her before, but today I want to see her. So Aunt Pat brought me here to come and see her. Yeah. So I'm happy to see her.
I'm sure the Vice President will be happy to see all the many young women she's inspiring all over the world. If she should talk to you, if she should get close to you and talk to you and ask you, Christabel, what do you want to be in future? What would you tell her?
I want to be a medical doctor.
Okay, so what does Basics International and what do the things that you do at Basic International offer you to make sure that you can be the medical doctor that you want to? I think you would look lovely as a doctor, by the way. But what do you learn at Basics International which will help you to become a medical doctor?
I learned so that I'll be a medical doctor. So I know like the things I'll go through and be a medical doctor. For example, you learn hard and you obey instructions in class so that you'll be a medical doctor.
Thank you, Christabel. So you've had a young girl aspiring for greater things. Is that what the partnerships is all about? Is that the key focus for your work with the U.S. Embassy?
Basics is a non-governmental organization, as our CEO said, and it's also trying to end illiteracy, hunger, and poverty in the society and where we are, Choco. Basics has been a benefactor of Choco in the sense that Basics is helping the people in Choco to be educated, to be able to be outspoken. That is in the sense of being able to speak for equality and good service to humanity.
Ma'am CEO, what kind of changes have you seen since this program started that inspires you to keep going?
Well, this is an example of a change. This is Obed, who you just met. Obed entered our program when he was about 8 years old. He had never been to school and he was a fisherman. And he comes from a long line of fishermen who thinks that that should be where the child should be and that they should continue that legacy. But just 2 weeks ago, Obed graduated from KNUST. So this is some of the change that we've seen.
Congratulations, Obed. What's the vision for you after this graduation?
The vision is that to continue to inspire people, to promote what Basics is doing, and also to help my community as a whole, to bring change. That's what we want, change in the community.
Because it's a big ask for a community. I know the place personally, and I know that, like you're saying, illiteracy is a problem and poverty is really a problem. How much of an inspiration is your story to people in your community, and how are you able to use that to influence them to also join programs like what's happening at Basic?
Whenever I'm in the community, people feel like, yes, people look up to me and say, this is Obed. He went to Basics as a young boy. Right now, he's doing greater things. And what Basics is doing for me and my other brothers and sisters and siblings in the organization, yes, it has been recognized by the community. And so whenever they see me coming from school, whenever they see me going to the program, they always tell their children, I want you to follow Obed, do what he's doing, learn hard. Yes. And so that's an inspiration, a big inspiration.
I'm sure that at some point, if she has the time, Her Excellency the Vice President may very well watch this broadcast, and she would hear you, and perhaps you would take a few minutes to give her a direct message, if you could.
Well, I would say to her, thank you. Thank you for inspiring a woman myself, a woman of color. Thank you for inspiring so many young girls around the world. I think wherever a young girl is sitting today, they're looking at her and saying, that could be me. And this is something that we as girl children are not being afforded. We had to fight for so many things. And so she sets an example that anything is possible. And so I say thank you. I would say thank you to her. That's all I would say is thank you.
Her partnership with U.S. President Joe Biden, especially coming on the heels of the presidency of His Excellency Barack Obama, became a positive black story to tell all over the world. How much of an inspiration is that to you as you stand here today, seeing someone who looks just like you step off of one of the most highly secured planes on the planet and occupying the position that she does?
I think that's what today makes it so special, because we can celebrate that she's a female and we're celebrating a woman, but the fact that she's the first black woman, first Indian woman, for me as an African American woman, for our history, that we come from people that were enslaved, and that we're seeing somebody walk off an Air Force One and sitting as like the second seat in power in the United States in America. Again, say thank you, because it's inspiration. It makes us all wake up in the morning and say that we can do greater. We can do greater. So
thank you so much for sharing some time with us. I see that your people have moved closer to get the front seats at her arrival of Her Excellency. Thank you for what you do for the Choco community. Keep it up. Christabel, study hard. I'm looking forward to walking into a consulting room one day and seeing you standing there, sitting there, ready to look after me. Obed, thank you, and keep up the positive work that you're doing with your community. And we'll try and catch up with you a bit later. So you can go on now and join your colleagues over there. We'll catch up with you very shortly. Basics International is one of the partners that benefits from what the U.S. Embassy in Ghana does for young people. There are many opportunities. Alan is joining me now. There are many opportunities. And I asked for a list yesterday. It came to a very tall list. Mandela Fellowship. And it came to the Yali partnerships and their projects. And I just could not stop talking about all the educational opportunities that the U.S. helps Ghana to go through with all these grants and other forms of support.
Sure, absolutely. See, you've already mentioned how this whole thing is going to be about education. The focus mainly will be on education. But we want to bring on a team who ensured the setup of this place.
Okay.
So well set up to receive Her Excellency Kamala Harris. Let me bring on one of the guys who made it all happen. Will you join us, please? Sure. You stay here with me. What's your name, sir?
My name is Alvin Odamiti from Silicon House.
Silicon House, what did you do to get this place to where it is? Or how did you manage to pull this off?
And so we came in, we provided audio, logistics, stage, some water and some chairs and some flags. So we came in to sort out the logistics, the sound, stage and everything. So that's what we...
I'm really curious. How do you, or were you giving certain measurements in the way to set up the stage so that it will be well or fit for such a personality?
Yeah, we are giving a requirement from the American team. They gave us a spec onto how they want their things to be done. And we looked through the spec and we gave out what they requested for, yeah.
So on a scale of 0 to 10, Where will you put Silicon House, given what you have provided today?
10 over 10 because we're able to make them happy.
You must be very proud of yourself.
Yeah. I was very proud because we producing the best and in any measure.
Well, we're waiting for Her Excellency until
Alan?
she mounts the stage, and we'll know whether you've done it or you didn't do it. Thank you very much anyway for being so helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Alana. That was a fantastic setup they have here, by the way.
Sure.
For now, all our eyes are pointed at the skies, and we are looking for the first sight of the plane.
You got me looking up immediately.
I am looking around.
Got me looking up
I'm trying to
immediately,
figure out
Thelma.
which direction it's going to come from, but all our eyes are in the sky at the moment. So it's the eye in the sky now as we wait for first sight of the plane that would be bringing Her Excellency the Vice President into Ghana, hoping to strengthen ties further. It's been a difficult journey for Ghana after COVID-19.
Something up in the sky.
And I think I see it as well.
I can see something.
So we are just waiting for that to touch down. I see some specks of light in the clouds.
Awesome.
And a March day like this, very sunny and bright, makes it a perfect weather for the flight to land. Heavy security,
I'm not sure what shot viewers will have.
But the children are ready. We are
ready. If you have shots from the podium, then you should be able to tell that in a matter of perhaps 10 counting down, we should have Her Excellency Kamala Harris joining us shortly.
And it's fully Ghanaian, and we are ready to show our culture to the rest of the world. It's also Heritage Month, so we want her to have a feel of our rich culture and diversity. We want her to walk into the warm embrace, the warm hospitality of what is truly Ghanaian. And the Ghana Dance Ensemble is on the ground. They will be making some performances, and they will be seeking to give the Vice President her first taste of true Ghanaian culture.
I'm intrigued.
Eyes still in the sky.
I'm intrigued at the way suddenly every other person, either in uniform or plain, is positioned strategically. They've all suddenly taken their positions. Everybody seems to be in where they have to be and looking in a certain direction.
There's no doubt that this has been rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed ahead of time. And so the security is ready. The flight is on the ground. The flight is on the ground.
We have
Akwaba, Your Excellency Kamala Harris, welcome to Ghana. Henio J, I hope you learn to respond Jenjo, as the Ghans will say.
Well,
welcome,
that cans will go with the same Akwaba, baby Aufri, a hot dear. And I'm sure she's gone through her teaching with local languages, and so perhaps she'll be able to say, baby I'm dear, a hoboko.
And if there are any enthusiastic persons, they will go on to ask the typical Ghanaian question, what did you bring me? So she comes bearing messages from our brothers and sisters in the United States and Ghana, the culture of the people, the history of the people, one with the United States. Today, in Accra, Kamala Harris at the Kotoka International Airport, U.S. Vice President to President Joe Biden. Let's enjoy some of the sights and sounds. Rachel, join us. Would you terribly mind? We are seeing now the flight that had, and the vice president is about to step off. We've seen some state protocol vehicles approaching the aircraft, and we are waiting for first sight of the Vice President Kamala Harris in her first official visit to Ghana. We see her stepping off. To deepen ties with the US, and now is the moment, a very historic one. The first time that a vice president of the United States, who is a woman of color and advocate reproductive rights of women, is making this visit to Ghana.
And so the welcoming party, led by the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is on his way to meet the team getting out of the aircraft in the company of Her Excellency Kamala Harris.
Everyone assuming position to make sure that the Vice President is well received. His Excellency, the Vice President of Ghana, is welcoming his equal from the United States as leader of this government delegation at the Kotoka International Airport.
And you have the Ghana Dance Ensemble beautifully choreographing Ghana's Akwaba. And that performance you see to the left of your screen is the Aquaba performance by the Ghana Dance Ensemble.
For some, this may be bringing back a lot of memories of the time in 1998 when President Bill Clinton became the first sitting U.S. president to visit Ghana for a day. And economic recovery was also a focus in that visit. President George W. Bush also visited, but this time for 3 days in 2008. And of course, President Barack Obama came the year after in 2009. He was in Accra and Cape Coast for that tour, and he became the first ever U.S. president to visit a slave departure point. He was also the first U.S. president, Alan, if you would remember, to deliver a speech to the Ghanaian Parliament.
Yes.
And so for some of these memories may be recurring. The vice president has assumed position at the base of the stairway, and he is waiting for the vice president of the U.S. to step off the aircraft.
Viewers, the atmosphere here at the airport is really one of excitement. Apart from the Ghana Dance Ensemble, who are welcoming Her Excellency Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States, to Ghana, we also have a few schools who are beneficiaries of United States goodwill, who are also here to welcome the second in command to the United States of America.
So here's a closer view of the entrance, or the exit in this case,
Yes,
of the aircraft, and we're still waiting for first sight of the U.S. Vice President.
At one point, I was tempted to think that perhaps she may be using the exit of the aircraft when I saw the Secret Service personnel go up. Once again, we have a close-up of the main exit or door to the aircraft. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, she should be stepping out anytime soon. We see two Secret Service men also climbing up the stairs to the back of the aircraft.
Close ties with a vision of getting them even closer between these two countries who have been friends for much of the diplomatic relationship and also in mutual respect for each other. Remember that Ghana is lauded internationally as a strong pillar of democracy in Africa, in West Africa, especially at a time like this when instability in pockets of the continent remains an issue of concern. And security indeed will be a key part of what Her Excellency, the Vice President, would be engaging on with the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, and later when she meets with President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo at the Jubilee House tomorrow. I'm expecting that once she falls in love with the rich cultural display that we have rolled out for her, she would be interested to sample some of our rich culture and take something back with her. For her, I am hoping that it will be an memorable event.
We seem to be having a certain movement at the door of the aircraft, and we're trusting that this should be her exiting the aircraft to join her equal in the person of Vice President, His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who is positioned at the stairway of the aircraft to receive Her Excellency Kamala Harris. In terms of relationship, Ghana attracts hundreds of American students each year seeking to experience the rich history and culture of the West African country, and indeed West Africa in general. These types of cross-cultural exchanges have created long-lasting networks across the United States and Africa as a whole. today in history is when Ghanaians across the globe will look back and be excited for, in that there is a good chance of Ghana-US relations being deepened even further.
Still waiting, Alan, for the first sight. The Ghana Dance Ensemble, relentless in their display of rich kete dancing, and everyone is in pole position to wait for Her Excellency to step off the plane. We are witnessing today a visit by U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris to Ghana for the first time.
Drummers very energetic in their performance.
So the school children, they're very enthusiastic, aren't they? And they are just ready with their miniature flags, ready to welcome someone who is an icon to many of them, I have no doubt, especially the young girls who are here, like Christabel that we spoke to earlier from the Basics International, and all the good work that they are doing to improve the lives of young people in Ghana so they can be inspired to aspire to be better.
Thelma, you engaged Christabel and her tutors or her mentor. What did she give you, if anything, with regards to her expectations for today?
Oh, she just wants to meet someone who she admires. And obviously she's in basic skills. In Ghana we say she's a class 6 pupil. So she's looking forward to this strong woman. She's never seen her, only sees her on TV. So today is a first opportunity for her to see the U.S. Vice President on home soil, Ghana and the U.S., hoping to continue the mutually beneficial relationships in so many areas. And this is just one more step in that direction. I'm hoping that tourism will also be a big thing during this visit, because we are seeing a lot more Americans visiting the motherland, visiting the continent, visiting Ghana, and we've seen key personalities from musicians to TV personalities and actors and actresses visiting Ghana and sampling who we are as a people, and even being a part of our rich culture and traditions. We've seen the visiting celebrities, as they are called by some, giving chieftaincy titles. We've seen some of them in Kente. That Idris Elba picture went viral. We've seen some actors and actresses also visiting. Steve Harvey has been made visits to Ghana in recent times. But this really is the top of the cake. This is the cherry on the pie, and it's a great honor for Ghana to host such a high figure in the U.S. presidency at the time.
You mentioned in your intro, Thelma, the stars and the stripes. Looking at what we have currently in short, which just went by, how do you feel looking at the both national flags hoisted so high to receiving such a high-profile personality?
I think that we know what the black star means to us as a country. The signature of hope and the signal of hope it represents, and we know what the red and the gold and the green mean to us as well. The stripes also mean a lot for the American people, and their stars represent all the states in that country. And for me, it's a testament to how people of such diverse backgrounds can stand united for such a long time, for so long. The U.S. could easily be different countries, but 50 states united with one goal and one agenda. which is the white stars that they have in their flag, it tells you that there is a lot of work that can be done to make sure that we get to where we want to get to. We've spilled blood, but we have gold, we have resources, and we have hope, which is what the Black Star tells us, that things can be better. And so when I look at the flags, that's what comes to mind. A measure, a communion of two great countries who only want to do better.
And as we can see the performers, the Ghana Dance Ensemble performers going close to the aircraft, it gives me a signal of the one thing and the one thing only, that perhaps at this point we can look forward to a sign of an exit from the aircraft. Apart from that, the Ghana Dance Ensemble has in the past welcomed such high-profile personalities.
They
And
have.
Thelma, you have a history with the Ghana Dance Ensemble.
I do indeed, Alan. When President Clinton came to Ghana in 1998, my school, my basic school, which was just down the road from the Independence Square Bishop Girls School, was
On the
one
High Street?
of the ones. So this is the site that we've been waiting to see.
Sure.
Her Excellency Kamala Harris, the 49th Vice President of the United States of America, stepping off the aircraft with her husband, Douglas Emhoff, who accompanied her on this trip. We see Vice President Bawumia extending an arm of friendship to her, and these are the children who came all the way to see their icon and to pay their respects. You can see the miniature flags waving there as they first sighted the Vice President. Kamala Harris, welcome to Ghana, Akwaba. We hope you have a pleasant stay, and this is indeed a historic day.
And for the many children who are waving miniature flags, I can only imagine the thoughts that run through their minds at the moment. But if I were one of them, the one thing I'd be perhaps gladly doing is also yelling out her name.
I'm sure that they will, and the Vice President Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia having a tete-a-tete moment with the visiting U.S. Vice President and her husband, who have just stepped off the plane right here at the Kotoka International Airport. Ghana is hosting the 49th Vice President of the United States, who assumed office on January 20th, 2021, with His Excellency the U.S. President Joe Biden as her commander-in-chief. Before she became vice president, she served as a United States Senator for California from January 3 to 2017 to January 18, 2021. She's also served as an Attorney General of that same state, the 32nd person to hold that office. She's held other offices, the District Attorney of San Francisco, Kamala Devi Harris, in Accra today on the first day of her 3-day state visit to Ghana, accompanied by her husband, Duke Emhoff.
Indeed, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, in that tete-a-tete with the Vice President of the United States. You see that broad smile on her face, tells you whatever Dr.
I think she's liking the
Bawumia
dancing
had
a lot
just
as well.
said to her is really exactly what she should hear at that time.
And she touches her heart. She's very touched with the reception that she's getting here in the capital, Accra. A very sunny and hot day in Ghana, and the Ghana Dance Ensemble putting a rich part of our culture on full display. She steps up perhaps to say hello to the school children who have been waiting. She takes a salute first,
Yes.
doesn't she? And she's just waving to the crowd, and they are screaming right back at her in excitement, and she's making a statement now.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the warm welcome, all our young leaders, all the leaders, thank you for this warm welcome. On behalf of my husband, the second gentleman of the United States, and of course we bring you greetings from the President of the United States, Joe Biden, and the First Lady, Jill Biden. What an honor it is to be here in Ghana and on the continent of Africa. Today begins a week-long journey, first here in Ghana, then on to Tanzania, and then Zambia. On behalf of the President and our entire nation, we bring you greetings, and we are looking forward to this trip as a further statement of the long and enduring and very important relationship and friendship between the people of the United States and those who live on the continent of Africa. I'm very excited about the future of Africa. I'm very excited about the impact of the future of Africa on the rest of the world, including the United States of America. When I look at what is happening on this continent and the fact that the median age is 19 years old, and what that tells us about the growth of opportunity, of innovation, of possibilities, I see in all of that great opportunity, not only for the people of this continent, but the people of the world, especially when we understand that by the year 2050, we believe 1 in 4 people on Earth will be on the continent of Africa. So I am here to address some of the issues that relate to the partnership between this continent, its people, and the people of the United States, and to reinforce the work that we will continue to do together, be that on addressing the climate crisis, to supply chains, to our work together on international rules and norms. In particular on this trip, I intend to do work that is focused on increasing investments here on the continent and facilitating economic growth and opportunity, specifically in the areas of economic empowerment of women and girls, empowerment of youth entrepreneurship, digital inclusion, and to support the work that must be done to increase food security, including adaptation to the effects of the climate crisis. I look forward to my meetings with President Akufo-Addo, President Samia, and President Hichilema. We will build on the previous meetings I have had with each of them to strengthen democracy and good governance, promote peace and security, build on long-term economic growth, and strengthen our business ties. I also look forward during this visit to meet with entrepreneurs and artists and students and farmers to witness firsthand the extraordinary innovation and creativity that is occurring on this continent and inspiring the world. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and again, I'm so very excited to be here, and I thank you all for the very warm welcome. Thank you.
Zambia in a few days to come. But most importantly, she mentioned a few areas she'll be looking at and what she's expecting to see while she is with us. She mentioned women empowerment, entrepreneurial youth and entrepreneurial activities, as well as also deepening relations between Ghana and the United States. Delma.
She spoke about ensuring that the meetings that previous senior officials of the U.S. government have had would be continued, basically. She mentioned addressing issues around the climate crisis. She talked about increasing investment and economic growth. Of course, women empowerment, we talked about how actively she is involved in the activism.
Sure.
be important to us as well. Peace and security is also top on her agenda. Kamala Harris is telling us that she will be looking forward to meeting entrepreneurs, students, and artists who are inspiring the world with the work that they do. She's excited about the future, and this is why I find quite critical. She said she's excited about the impact of the future of Africa. And so this is all in that regard. These are the future faces of Africa, the young people who will be tomorrow's leaders. And you can see the joy, in her demeanor when she's engaging with these students. Remember, many of them are here seeing her for the first time, and I doubt any of them will forget the day they shook the hands of the first female U.S. vice president in history.
Given the background of some of these children and the opportunity to meet such personalities, to some of them, this will be memories that will stay for a lifetime.
If you are a young person in the Choco community, you know how much of a Herculean task it would be to have a face-to-face with the Vice President of the United States of America. We are here trying to steal pictures of the aircraft as it landed. I understand the viewers at home caught a bit of that conversation, but even we are excited as we sit in commentary position witnessing these scenes. But look at the children that she continues to inspire, the many girls who look at her and want what she has been able to achieve, and her commitment to ensuring that even if she is the first to do something, she definitely would not be the last.
Indeed, and now they will hurry into the Aquaba Lounge where the Vice President will host her briefly, and then they will move on to other activities. What you can see currently are live pictures from the Aquaba Lounge at the Kotoka International Airport, where this afternoon the Vice President of the United States of America, Her Excellency Kamala Harris, is on a 3-day visit to Ghana, where she will move on to Tanzania and Zambia. This is intended to deepening international relations between Ghana and the United States. While she's here, she looks forward to meeting some artists, students, and entrepreneurs. And she is really interested in women's rights and women empowerment. And so top on her agenda is to highlight the importance of empowering women.
She's come a long way from Oakland, California, where she was born. She's come a long way from graduating from Howard University and the University of California, Hastings College of Law. She's come a long way from the office of the district attorney in San Francisco, and the state of California, which had her as the elected attorney general, has also benefited a lot from her experience. And of course, she continues to advocate for healthcare reforms, which was something that former President Barack Obama was very passionate about. His successor, Joe Biden, who was vice president with Barack Obama, knows personally what it is to be vice president of the United States of America, and it's something that Kamala Harris has shown a lot of drive and passion about doing. I'm sure that other conversations would be had when she meets with the president, and the government delegation have now let her into the auditorium where she will be getting more welcome protocols rolled out for her, right here at the Aquaba Lounge of the Kotoka International Airport. In your shot, the plane that brought history to Ghana, the 49th Vice President of the United States of America, Ms. Kamala Harris, in Ghana.
Indeed, you're still looking at live pictures from the Aquaba Lounge at the Kotoka International Airport, where this morning we have received the Vice President of the United States of America. In your shot, once again, is the aircraft that flew her from the States to the shores of Ghana. You now
it's a welcome ceremony. The account will say Akwaba. The girls will say Heni Oje, and they would exchange a hug and say Awa, Awa, Atu. Our ever brothers and sisters would say
Wezo,
Wezo, Mia Wezo to the U.S. Vice President as she visits
and
Ghana.
so you have the military Nimrod aircraft also taking off. It has been doing the recce up above in the skies to ensure that while the Vice President's aircraft is on the tarmac, it is in a safe pair of hands. Our military and the U.S. Counterparts are doing everything they can to ensure that indeed security is very well provisioned. This, as you can see, is rather the United States Nimrod aircraft. It carries not just military personnel but also military equipment as well as vehicles.
We are clear to say that it carries essential support for the flight that brought the Vice President home. We're seeing some jeers and cheers, hearing some jeers and cheers from the students. I'm sure that those who had the opportunity to shake Her Excellency's hand are telling their colleagues about it. And the welcome protocols continue all across Ghana from every language possible, in every dialect that we speak on our land. It's one word, welcome, in whatever language you speak.
Heni Oje, Wezo. And interesting, but Thelma, you mentioned those kids who may have had the opportunity to shake hands with the Vice President of the United States. It took me back quickly to a man I met who had the opportunity to shake the hands of our late President Rawlings. And this man told me for 3 days that hand never touched water.
These children will not forget the day they met face to face in the same space, in close quarters, with such a dignitary. And as they are from Choco, we'll be hearing a lot of the Awa Awa too, because it's a community. And we've been doing this live coverage at the Kotoka International Airport. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Baumia, in the company of the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Madam Shirley Kobotre. I saw the Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Korte also in that delegation to welcome Madam Kamala Harris to the motherland. And this has been our live coverage right here from the Akwaba Lounge at Kotoka International Airport. We say Akwaba to the visiting U.S. Vice President, and we wish her fruitful deliberations in her stay in Ghana. And we'll look forward to wishing her well as she continues on the next leg of her journey, which will take her to Tanzania
and Zambia, to be precise. And so in your shorts, we have once again the podium where her opening remarks came to us. And this has been a live broadcast from the Kotoka International Airport. My name, as always, is Darola Alan Tego, here with
Thelma Taki. Thank you so much for making time to join us.